What's up guys, Manny from Motomillion, and we got a new bike. And I'm gonna get you guys to do this. Pause the video, take a good look at the silhouette of this thing as much as you could tell, and comment below to see what you think we got, because it might be a surprise to some of you and may not be a surprise to some of you. We picked up a new bike because most of our projects are complete at this point. And if you haven't watched it, so we have our V4 SP2, we had a Panigale V2, a Diavel V4, and we have an ongoing project that's not our bike, that's 650 Eve's RSV4, the Ultra Dark RSV4. And we added a new bike in here. It is, I don't know if you guessed it right or not, but it is the Ultra Gold Tuono 1100 factory. It's a 2024. Obviously, since this video is being shot in 2024. And we had to do something because I know there's gonna be some people saying it looks kind of weird, right? This thing, we had to put it back, the fender all the way back in. There's a way to do it. It's not pretty, but we did it because the cover didn't fit on it, but maybe that was a little decoy for you guys. Well, now that the cat is out of the bag, if you could call this thing a cat, you're probably wondering, why did we pick up a Tuono V4? So there's a couple of reasons behind that. Our Aprilia content has been very popular. It's been only of the RSV4, but I thought this suits the Motomillion lineup pretty well. Number two, I made a comment way back a couple of years ago when the Street Fighter V4 was just released and we were starting the Motomillion Street Fighter V4 project. When I wrote that Street Fighter, I said the Tuono V4 is now obsolete because that Street Fighter was such a good bike. And not that I don't like Aprilias, if you guys have been following Motomillion for long enough, we did actually a Tuono V4 build, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, that I really adored and I loved, and I think it was one of the prime examples of what a Tuono V4 can be like. But some of you guys got triggered by that comment that the Tuono V4 is now obsolete. Well, here it is. We picked up a Tuono V4 so that I could at least see if it's obsolete or not, because maybe I'm gonna prove myself wrong. But also don't forget, the Tuono V4 has been updated over the years. It might not look so different, but it is Aprilia after all. They do evolution rather than revolution, and it's been always a great bike in terms of the RSV4s and the Tuono V4s, and some of you guys comment saying that these things are the best sounding bikes. So now that we got that why question out of the way, well, let's talk about our build plans with it, because if you guys know what we do on this channel, this is not going to stay stock for long enough, because it's been stock for way too long since this video has started. But I'm not going to pick up the wrenches and tools right now. Let's go over what we can do to this thing, or what we are thinking of doing. I haven't ridden the bike, so there's still going to be a first ride video for this bike, because in terms of how we build and how we choose of what we do on the motorcycles, yes, we know kind of the things that we're going to put on, but after I ride the bike, I really realized that what we could do, or stuff that pops in my head. So it's not going to go into super detail of what parts and what brands we're going to use. And I want to bring it to your attention, guys, that we do not get any preferential treatment or any money from any company in terms of our builds. We pick and choose, we curate the parts that we want to put on it. It's our own taste, and we want to make sure that the end result ends up deserving the Motomillion name. So now that's out of the way, before I ride it, if you guys know me well enough, we're going to put some radiator oil cooler guards on these bikes, because I don't want to take the risk of puncturing the radiator. And it does happen, guys. I've heard enough stories from you guys who call and tell us, oh my goodness, I was just riding my beautiful new bike home and I got a puncture in my radiator. And if it doesn't happen from the dealership to your house, it does happen, especially if you're on some canyon roads, there's rocks and debris around. So that's gonna be the first thing I do before I take this thing for a ride. And obviously, if you guys know me pretty well, this has to get cleaned up. I do not like these mirrors. On the naked bikes, the bar end mirrors work really well, so this might get the bar end mirrors. I know that there is the Rizoma Stealth mirrors now, but I think those look the best on the super bikes. So I think I'm pretty much set on doing bar end mirrors. Speaking of the handlebars, here's a little story for you. For our Motomillion Street Fighter V4 build, we had gotten a carbon fiber handlebar for it, which we ended up not using because we thought it was not suiting the bike. I just grabbed it and held it against this stock handlebar. It's gonna fit perfectly, I think. So there's a little detail for you that I may say that we are probably going to use that handlebar. We're going to try to use it to see if it fits as we want it to fit. So, and in terms of the philosophy of our builds, guys, we try to make sure that the bikes are better performing, better looking, and overall more fun. So better looking is, it's simple things that you could do, right? You could clean up the handlebars, get rid of this ugly fender in the back, and it's an easy recipe to follow. The more fun is very subjective, and for me, the easiest thing to do to make a bike more fun is to check the exhaust system. This big, ugly stock exhaust system has to go. I mean, it's not as bad as a GSXR 1000 exhaust system. I don't know if you've ever seen a stock exhaust. Those are big, big pieces. I like to call it a whale because it looks as big as a whale. But we're gonna follow two things with this bike in terms of the exhaust. I think I'm gonna try to put on a slip-on first, and there's a good reason for that. The full exhaust that we want to put on this bike currently is not available because it's made by SC Project's race division, and I gave it up. We're going to use some SC Project exhaust on this bike because it looks like the Aprilia crowd really likes SC Project, and why not continue along with the tradition that we've started already using the SC Project on our RSV4 builds that we've done. So since the full exhaust is not available, I'd like to try a slip-on so that we could at least also give you guys some sort of a consumer advice. Is a full exhaust worth it? Is it a big difference? And for you eagle-eyed viewers, there's one part that's not stock on this bike. If you know the ultra gold color scheme of the Tuono, this thing right here is not stock. And I think it adds a lot to this bike. And it was painted, I guess it's a dealer option or something, or they just try to do something differently to see how it looks. And I think Aprilia should really release these bikes with this plastic piece painted because it looks so much better. I saw one without it and one with it. We decided to go with the one with it, even though it was a premium that we had to pay for it. I just wanted to, for as long as we keep it like this, wanted to see it in a better looking form. But we're gonna be using a lot of carbon fiber parts, and that part's gonna get replaced with a carbon fiber belly pan. And you can be sure that we're gonna follow this paint scheme along. And speaking of paint schemes, when we do the wheels, I have an idea of something to do with the wheels in terms of the painting them. I think it's gonna look really good. You guys have to wait and see what that is. I'm not gonna give it up because some stuff has to be kept as a secret so that we could get you guys to keep watching along. And speaking of watching along, I see that you guys watch our videos, but not all you guys who are watching are subscribed. If I please may ask you to hit that subscribe button. It means a lot for us because the YouTube algorithm favors our videos more and shows it to enthusiasts like you so that we could grow the channel and bring you better quality content. Now that's out of the way. Obviously, we're gonna do some power mods to this bike. Yes, the exhaust does add a little bit of power. There's a lot of cool products on this bike that I already researched and found that there is an airbox mod that we could do to this. There's gonna be a flash. The flash will also get rid of these front turn signals because if you watched our RSV4 videos, the flash gets the integrated turn signals working in here. It's just a coating that it changes. And I think in a nutshell, that's pretty much what we're gonna do. Obviously, we'll do our 520 conversion kit once we do the wheels. And in terms of rear sets, I'd like to just sit down and think to make sure that we get something that suits this color scheme because this is a very unusual color. You don't get to see a lot of blacks, whites, and gold on the same bike. At least not to my knowledge. I haven't seen anything other than the ultra gold color scheme that puts all these same colors on the bikes. So there's a lot of really good rear sets out there for these bikes, but I want to make sure that design-wise it suits this bike. And now that you guys saw that we got a Tuono V4, I'd like to hear back from you guys in the comment section below. Let us know if you're excited about it. Let us know what you guys want us to do, what we've talked about, what we didn't talk about. I read all of your comments and I try to respond to them as much as possible. And over the years, we've got some really good ideas from you guys that we've implemented to our previous builds, and why not try to do it with this build. But I think that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys like what you see. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, have a good one.